Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, and obviously no bullshit. Well, today I'll reassure everybody that I'm not going to go into a rant, but I will say it is nice to see that the clueless sports talk and clueless media in general covering Denver Broncos are actually producing articles backing up what I've been observing with Courtland Sutton for a long time. Articles like Courtland Sutton needs to, either put up or shut up. So they're finally getting a clue, but it was yours truly who've been talking about this long ago, and this is, again, why I have a channel. Because I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to, to get likes, and I actually even covet all the thumbs downers, especially when I get vindicated. I want to talk about the obviously the Seattle and the Broncos scrimmage coming up. So this is a countdown to kickoff. Anyway, was talking about Courtland Sutton, but I was listening to again the mindlessness at Sports Talk Radio, and their obsession with Paxton Lynch. He's a deer in the headlight. He'll always be a deer in the headlight. We all didn't foresee this coming in the beginning. But that's manifested itself. And when I mean deer in the headlight with Paxton Lynch is that I think it was Brian Schottenheimer's kids on Seattle, and he basically said the kid won't prepare. So he doesn't take it seriously. And it's kind of a Courtland Sutton thing too. I just hope Courtland Sutton actually starts getting his head out of his ass and he really starts to put in the effort. But they went on cluelessly to Locke. And I don't understand why Hogan is there. And it's like, this is the reason why. I know that there's cluelessness out there. Cluelessness is abound. And what happens is people get the general public has been trained to be locked into rounds, draft rounds. Well, he's a second rounder. If you're going to be a successful team, you got to look past the rounds. And you got to really hone into who's really producing. Teams that have success, that's what they usually do. And unlike the mindlessness that's going on in Sports Talk Radio involving Drew Lock, like I said, I just put it out there that, to me it's a waste of time. What you saw week one and then the reaction to it, it's only one game. Well, it's not one game with Drew Lock. The Denver Broncos and everybody else who's actually willing to look have a whole body of work of him over-under throwing. It's just what he does, and he just continued that in camp. Of course, they kept that quiet, and then when it manifested itself, in front of everybody. And to me, what was interesting about Locke's performance was the fact that he was over-undering in the pocket, and which typically he's pretty good compared to when he's out of the pocket. But when he was out of the pocket, he actually looked to be better than when he was in the pocket, which I thought was kind of interesting. But for me, Locke is basically a nothing more than a backup to be. He's not even a backup yet. Now here's the thing: they have to keep Hogan because if and the probability is that Flacco could be injured for 3-6 weeks, and they need somebody there to win. Or I should say 4 to 6 weeks. Half of those games, have a chance to win half of those games. You're not going to get that chance with Locke. I know a lot of you can't see that and don't understand that. You thumbs downers out there, I get it. You don't get it. I understand that. But thank God Vic Fangio and company totally understand that. The idea of the backup is just because the quarterback goes out doesn't mean it's not the end of the world as you know it. Maybe he's just going to be out 4 to 6 weeks or something. They just need somebody to bridge that time. Just people, come on, get a clue. And right now, I don't see this year that, it would be a complete disaster out there if you got Locke over-undering, with these. You saw what he did with Alabama. He just folded like a lawn chair. Come on. So, let's be realistic here. Thank God Vic Fangio sees this and has put Locke into perspective. That's what I'm looking at as far as the Denver Bronco organization. getting out of the problems that they've had over the years with even before Peyton Manning left. One of the sports talking heads, Mike Evans, did a report, and I'm going to about quarterbacks and how Denver has failed in this and why. And I'm going to go read his report and do a critique on it. It's interesting, and I think I can do a real good critique on it. But anyway, with the whole Lock and Lynch thing off to the side, what I really want to talk about with the Denver Broncos is the defense. Everybody, again, the thumbs downers, the Kool-Aid drinkers, the people who just can't get a hold of reality, they they want to believe that this is the Denver Broncos of 2015. And I'm not going to be pulled into that fantasy. What I'm really curious about the Denver Broncos isn't so much their pass defense, but is their run stop ability. I haven't heard one sports talk radio discuss their run stop ability. To me, that could be one of their Achilles on the defense. I'm assuming they're going to get really tested in their first week against Oakland. I'm sure that Gruden's going to try to really run that football right down the Denver Broncos' throat. So I'm looking at, my question is their run stop ability. That's where my question mark really with their defense really lies. And also their linebacking core. That's the soft spot of their defense. I would target that if I was an opposing team. One of their pickups, Josie Jewell, is out, which I actually think bodes well for the Broncos. I think that guy needs to get replaced. And, well, hopefully they have, somebody that it's not good for him he's out, because I don't really think he's really the greatest option for them. And this would be a time for somebody to leapfrog that guy. So, for my detractors out there, to me, being a fan isn't just, being a happy, oh, I'm so happy, and just ignore everything. I'd like to see the Denver Broncos, leapfrog some of these teams and get back into battle and back into action. But, I think they still have pieces of the puzzle they got to put together. I wouldn't even shy away from drafting a quarterback in the 2020 draft. It doesn't necessarily have to be the number one guy to be a good draft pick. I'm just saying, if they can find a guy who's accurate, who has an uncanny characteristic about coming back from behind, I say you go with a guy like that, every time. A guy who has a high football IQ, he may be even better than the guy with the strong arm. So tonight, I'm just kind of curious to see the first teamers. I'm not really expecting much, out of that. So obviously, Riddick, it'd be nice to see a little something. But again, what are they going to show? They're just going to run some base plays each side. The lines aren't really going to. The defensive lines for each team isn't really going to go all out for first string. The main guys. There's not. Here we are. We're evaluating players again. We're going to see who stands out. See if we can get receivers to catch balls, run routes correctly. At least the minimum of that. So I'd like to see Courtland Sutton actually shake a guy. Maybe he puts in a little more effort this time. I'm not saying that. I'm against Courtland Sutton completely. I'm just saying that he better get his head out of his ass. You as a fan should be saying that too. You should have caught that. It shouldn't be just me, but being the only guy that catches it, and then finally everybody catches up. You got to be a little critical too. So enjoy the game, and we'll reflect when it's over.